Degrees today. I wanted to do a video and show you what we've been doing to keep these plants in these pots. We got some cherry trees and maples and things like that. See how well they're doing and what we've been doing to keep them watered and all that, because we don't have much shade. And also, we'll look at this compost real quick. One of the difficulties that we've had, as I fall, one of the difficulties we've had is trying to get out here to get this turned. We've been doing an okay job. It's at a decent temperature. We just added some comfrey from the other property. We're trying to add some nitrogen in there. We need to turn it again, but it looks like this little heat wave we've had is about to break, or at least the mini drought, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to rain the next 3 days, at least at a pretty decent amount percentage wise. And what we've had to do is we've been spraying, like we have some lettuce here. I think that's a cabbage of some sort. This was kind of a random spot. We figured we'd throw some seeds in and see what happened. Some things that didn't make it were these mulberry cuttings. We had trimmed a couple of our mulberry trees and put them in pots, so I think the soil was just kind of too dead, and I didn't use any growth hormone or rooting hormone or anything like that. But, I mean, it only took a couple of minutes. It was worth a try, because there was a lot of things that did survive. All of our strawberries did survive. Ooh. And we have quite a number of strawberries. I guess they're not all doing fantastically well. Well, no, I don't think we've actually lost any. So this is really awesome. We can repot these up and put them into bigger pots. We have, I think, 60 strawberry plants we bought. We put them around trees like this. I think this is a apple. Yeah, Honeycrisp apple. I think we have 2 of them. And then we have a cherry. Or no, I think that's a pear. It's hard. I don't remember exactly what they are. But we do have a cherry right here. This is one we brought back from Minnesota, if it will focus. We actually drove that back on the bed of my truck. And these are all, including this apple. Some of the leaves did curl off and die, but we still have plenty of new growth. It's going along. And what we've had to do is what we do every morning is we come out here and we water these garden beds. It's kind of a mishmash. I'll make another video separately on this, but here's a little tomato plant. You can see some little tomatoes in there. And this netting has worked really well, but it wasn't a main focus of ours. So as you can see, there's a maple growing inside of there. It wasn't a main focus of ours, but we did want to get some of this kale and Brussels sprouts to grow. And you can see that in the back, the plantain's kind of taken over, but that was the main thing, was to at least get some seeds started, hopefully get some kale going. What we've been doing every day. Sorry, I get really distracted and then I have to edit out random bits and parts about stuff. I try to keep this on topic here. Here's all of our peanuts in the back row here, and we've just been spraying this, in a mist every morning or in the evening, depending, and just keeping it kind of moist. We'll do it again in the morning probably, or I might just spray it right after recording here. Because we've tried to, we just try to keep planting seeds and all that, and it just takes a couple minutes. Just turn on the hose, spray it down, kind of walk over here, spray these garden beds, spray all those pots, and give our compost a good watering. We've been turning it, anywhere from every 2 to 5 days, so we haven't been very diligent about it, but it's breaking down. Because we also have, these are all strawberries that we got from a friend of ours. We put those in huge pots, and we've mostly just been on the lookout for flowers. We want them focusing on the roots, making larger leaves, just like that random tree that's growing out of this random tree. We want them growing. We don't want them, pushing genetics and trying to bear fruit and all that. So plenty of time in future years. And this is another, we have about a pear tree from Menards that has worked out really well. Needs to be trimmed or pruned this year. You should be able to make out the difference in leaves here. So I get a good angle. But it's 9 foot tall. And it's gonna be pretty awesome. Not bad for a $40 tree. That was just down the street. And unlike the ones that I've gotten from in the mail, I don't have 2 main stems coming off of this. This is just one. It's just one. I don't have to worry about that. It's already selected for a central leader, and I can bring these out, and it'll grow properly and fruit properly. Another thing that we have done is we have some early young raspberry plants here. These are yellow and these are like Carolina red. It just alternates. Yeah, like these are 2 yellow and red, yellow and raspberries. A red Caroline and then a couple more yellow ones. But we sheet most of this spring, and we wanted to hasten down the breaking down of the cardboard that we use. We want to make sure that these raspberries had the best chance at life here, so we've been watering that as well every morning. We just hit this, and along with all these perennial veggies here. As you can see, one tree that's done really well is this peach that I planted last fall. And just the coloring of it is amazing. Yeah, the coloring of it is amazing. It's grown quite a lot. At this point in its life, we're just trying to get it to get as much growth, to get as much leaves on it as possible, to get as much energy into the roots. Because there's things like this that won't stay here for the rest of its life, but this is capturing energy right now. So we're just gonna leave it, prune it in the winter. Here's another area that we hit up with water every day. It's poorly covered with wood chips, sheet mulching area. And we have some arugula and we have bee balm. There's some red sorrel, some more bee balm, some lamb's ear right down here. And one thing I've kind of been doing is every couple of days, I think these are edible. I haven't verified, but I had read in a book that they were edible. So what I've been doing is, because I'm not sure if they're safe for chickens, I have been just kind of trimming some of the branches or leaves and dropping them down. That's hopefully to stimulate more growth. And if you see any of my other videos about planting perennials, you'll see that had like 2 leaves, 3 leaves on it at the early spring, and now it's already expanding. So this is kind of a checkup on how things are going. It's cooler in the evening, so we can actually be outside without, passing out from heat stroke. And Lucy's are calming down for the night. What you doing down there? Oh, you got something? You got something? We usually check up on them throughout the day, throw them some seed snacks, make sure their water over here is still filled up. We've got 5-gallon dealio that's gravity fed, and those have been working out pretty well. You can see there's a little sediment in the bottom. We'll just kind of clear that out when we refill the water. And this little expansion on the coop is done well. The only kind of thing we were thinking about is they actually don't get any sun, because east is that way. So the sun comes up and these leaves block pretty much all the sun. They don't get even dappled sunlight. So we were thinking about trimming some of these branches, actually, even if just to thin it out. If we were to take straight in the center there, take that one off, that would remove all of this. which is actually kind of almost grown into the pathway now. So that might be something that we do. We're obviously not going to, I guess that's another branch. Look at that. But we're obviously not going to take too much off and shock the tree too much since it's a 30-year-old tree. But it would be nice to get them some actual sunlight, because by the time it gets over, it goes overhead, and then when it gets to that other side, it's just blocked by the tree trunk itself and the rest of the massive branches. So that's something that we're looking at. But other than that, everything here in the food forest is doing well. We're waiting, hoping for some rain tomorrow or the next day. We were thinking about watering everything, but I don't see the need. I did it 2 days ago. I was worried about these extremely high temperatures, but you can see even the sea berry is perfectly happy. Nothing seems extremely troubled or anything like that. And we can always reach our hands into the soil and kind of feel how damp the soil is. It's got a good covering of old grasses and everything else. Yep. Oh, I forgot. There's a gooseberry right here. Next year we'll get some berries on that. It's expanding, growing bigger, and it's prime time for some wild carrots. Gonna show you the leaf design on that. A little different than the Queen Anne's lace, which will, oh, look at that, there's one right here. Yeah, I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of confusion over these late summer white flowers. Unless I've verified something 3 different ways, I won't eat it. But this Queen Anne's lace is pretty obvious to spot. It's a lot different than the wild cucumber or wild carrot. This is actually a cool thing right here. This well, tomatoes, I forget what they're called, but this is a perennial plant that keeps coming back. It's actually supposed to be an annual, but what it is, it's I guess it's a biannual, because last time this year we had a lot of these, and this time this year we have flowers. So I'm guessing it's a biannual plant, and it's just really cool. They're little cool yellow greenish tomato type deals, and I like them. And I'm always happy when random patches of food show up by themselves. Just like the flowering quince that's on the other side over here. I have pretty much a field of flowering quince that I didn't plant. We got one of those bushes of flower and to make a couple of fruit this year. And I couldn't be any happier, because I'd always thought, like, oh, it'd be cool to have a quince, and I'd always thought they were trees and didn't really look it up too much. Then I started wondering what this was, because it was taking over this whole area. That's a flowering quince. You can kind of tell the little shade difference in the color. That's a thistle. Flowering quince inside of there. There's another one in the back. Let's find the one that has fruit on it, maybe. Maybe I'll find the one with fruit on it. It's strange, because I walk by and look. Sometimes I see the fruit, because I keep expecting it to get eaten, and I don't see it. Oh, there you go. Okay, so here's a couple of the flowering quince fruit here. I guess there's some type of apple. I haven't verified for sure. I know that it is a flowering quince, but of what variety? Is there any health concerns, anything like that? However, like early spring, let's say early summer, these things were in like beautiful red, orangish flowers. And to have that throughout this whole area is amazing, because the thistles haven't even woken up yet, and these flowering quince are already putting on flowers. So, I mean, and then to have a mulberry coming up right here, and then a crabapple in the back. And that's actually another mulberry right here. Yeah, so this area and this area, even though I've only planted some pine trees and other evergreens along the border, I now have a field of flowering quince that is slowly outcompeting the thistle. So the thistle has done its job of preparing the soil, basically. And then we have mulberries popping up, which is awesome. Hopefully I can keep those to about 12 foot high, drain the branches, and be able to just kind of walk through there in between the flowering quince and grab some mulberries and quince and enjoy ourselves. Yeah, it's always things such as flowering quince and other things that we've actually planted. The idea is to get this area to be as natural as possible, go through the natural processes with a minimal amount of inputs. Primarily the inputs that I do is actually planting more varieties, because there's a few apple trees on this property, crab apple trees, but there's no, Granny Smith or anything like that. And I'd really like to eat peaches and pears in the late summer, so I planted those along with hazelnuts and wherever else. But I don't have to truck compost in. I have a couple of chickens that we have, we use some of their bedding and all that for soil. We've sheet mulched a minor amount, and mostly we've just let the grasses grow and let the plants do their thing. So it's a beautiful night, but it's getting just to the point where the mosquitoes come out, which is another nice thing about Indiana, that they only have mosquitoes, at least in my yard. They only have mosquitoes for a short amount of time at dusk, and then they go away. You know what? I think it's strawberry time. In this mess are strawberries. See them in there hiding. Up, if I can grab it. Look at that. Incredible. I planted this last year. It's a spreading variety, a June bearing. So it made its way out there. It's already trying to get involved with the asparagus. And it's taken over pretty much that whole area, but this is going to be amazing. Wow. I can't imagine I used to eat strawberries cold. It tastes so much better than anything I've ever bought in the store. So thank you for watching. I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. It was nice to get a evening walk in around. That's what I usually do. I usually just wander around and check on things and see how they're doing, see what else I can find, say hi to the chickens or goodnight to the chickens, and then well, I guess say goodnight to y'all too. So see you next time. All right, bye bye.